Hi, I'm Erin Power.
And I'm Laura Rupsis.
We're certified health coaches, and this is Health Coach Radio.
This podcast is about the art, science, and business of health coaching.
We share our insider tips to help you become a better coach and entrepreneur.
And we interview expert guests to discover how they've made it in this growing field.
It's time for health coaches to make an impact.
It's time for Health Coach Radio.
Today's episode is brought to you by the Health Coach Success Virtual Masterclass. My co-host Laura and I worked hard to pull together this special online event just for you. It's a 5-day mini course in which we interview the best and brightest health coach and marketing experts on the planet to try to understand how they've become such great coaches and entrepreneurs. Included in the 20-plus expert interviews are some names you might recognize. Primal Health Coach Institute founder Mark Sisson, celebrity nutrition expert and New York Times bestselling author J.J. Virgin, author, cardiologist, and staunch health coach advocate Dr. William Davis, Michelle Liotta of Health Coach Power Community, Michelle Norris, CEO of Paleo FX and ID Life Nutrition, and many, many more. The Health Coach Success Virtual Masterclass is now available and totally free for a limited time. Check it out at primalhealthcoach.com/success. Today in the show, we're welcoming Sterling Griffin. Buckle up, because Sterling Griffin is one of the most awesomely energetic, impactful people we've had on this show in a long time. He will get you passionately fired up to do whatever it takes to become a 6- or 7-figure earner in the health and fitness coaching space. Sterling himself went from being broke and homeless, literally living in his Honda Accord, to making tens of thousands of dollars a month as a trainer in an incredibly short amount of time. And all it took was a big, strong shift in mindset, a solid belief in himself, a few daring leaps of faith, with some smart and solid business tactics layered over top. Sterling is the creator of the Life Changer Academy, a business coaching community for health, fitness, and nutrition pros, where he teaches everything he's learned over the years and empowers coaches to boldly ask for what they're worth. He also hosts the Life Changer podcast, where he shares some of his own deep insights and experiences, as well as interviews coaches who have hit the big dollar earnings. We do this work because we want to change lives, and that is Sterling's underlying purpose. And he also wants coaches to earn what they're worth. Sterling exudes optimism and positivity, and his energy will fire you up. Let's dive in with Sterling Griffin. Welcome, Sterling Griffin. That is a name you want to touch. I gotta tell you, your mom must have been like a big Knots Landing or like 80s soap opera fan. Sterling Griffin. I like it.
I like it.
It's good. My name is Erin Power, and I get that too. Like, I get the fantastic name thing all the time. Anyway, we're really thrilled to have you here. The way we like to start this podcast is by having you tell us about you, your origin story, why and who you are, and how you got here to where you are today.
Yeah,
Like
you got a
3 to
great
5
story.
minutes.
Awesome. Erin, I love your name too. I feel like every time I say it out loud, I just immediately want to do a fist bump.
Yeah.
That's the response. Like, power, yes,
I
bring it.
know.
So, yeah, happy to share with you a little bit about me. My name is Sterling. I'm a huge fan of burgers and fries, and I have a 3-legged cat named Gaines. He is the friendliest cat you'll ever meet, but I'm sure you want to know a little bit more backstory on how I got this cat named Gaines. No,
Yes.
why I'm here on this podcast with you. So, a few years ago, I made the inexplicable decision to start a business while I was homeless. I was not like the historical entrepreneur like maybe most of the people you'll interview or you have on this show, where I'm like selling crap. I'm like selling lunch to kids selling snacks to kids at lunch during school. I don't know if you know people like that, like they've always been selling stuff.
Yep.
That was not me. I never thought I could be an entrepreneur, and I was working a door-to-door sales job a few years ago, but I just really sucked at sales, first of all, so I was not doing well. I was selling solar panels, going door-to-door selling the solar sets for people's homes in Southern California, and I was not good at it, but I was also not fulfilled by it. I'd met a few people that they had jobs and careers where they actually loved what they did every day. They felt like they were helping people. They felt like they were making a bigger difference. And I was super jealous of that, because I felt that if I had a job, if I had a career where I could help people change their lives, then I would be way more motivated. I'd be better at it, and I'd have way more fun in my life. And I figure, hey, I'm going to spend a third of my life working. I might as well try to find something that's fun. So it was at that time I met somebody that was a online personal trainer. Now, I never heard of this
Mm.
industry before. I didn't know. I was like, what the hell? Train someone on the internet? You can't do that. Okay, there's rules against that sort of thing. Turns out there's not rules against that. And when I started asking him about his business, he's like, "Well, I give people fitness plans, I give them nutrition plans, and I do weekly coaching with them, and they get great results. They pay me $1,000 every 8 weeks to do this service for them." And I was blew my mind. I was broke at the time. I was literally living out my Honda Accord, trying to like make ends meet. And here, this guy is making between $4,000 and $6,000 a month. Nothing crazy, but he was 19 years old, like dropped out of college to do this, and was working 15 to 20 hours a week. He had my attention. As somebody that had gone through a dramatic physical transformation the year, so many people asking me about how I'd made that physical transformation, how my body, how I was so much more energized now than they knew me in the past, and if I could show them the same thing. So I made a decision after meeting Ryan. I'm like, if this guy can do it, this guy who's not even as muscular as me can do this. And I had an ego just like that. Literally, those were the words in my brain. Then I'm going to try this too. Then I want to go after this. And so it started this journey of trying a whole bunch of shit. Can I cuss on your podcast? Can I use profanity?
Absolutely.
Or are you gonna bleep that out? You can bleep it out if you want. I'm of the opinion that cuss words are more like victim-based language, like, oh, I really should be doing that, or I can't, or they made me. Like that's more like the profanity in my mind. Anyway, so I tried a whole bunch of shit that didn't work. Maybe some of your listeners can relate to this part of my story where I was making random social media posts. Hey, you should buy my program. It's really awesome. And I basically just did exactly what my friend Ryan was doing. I was like, 8-week coaching program, body transformation. I tried hosting a webinar. I had 6 people show up and nobody bought. I was like, you know what? I've learned my lesson on this. I'm going to do better next time. Then I hosted a webinar with 4 people that showed up and nobody bought. I spent hundreds of dollars on Facebook ads. I didn't know anything else to do. I built a website. It was really crappy and didn't help me at all, but I did it because I heard that's what you're supposed to do. But it all changed for me. I did this over a period of a few months. Was getting a client here or there through friends that referred me people, but I was still living in my car. And then it all changed for me. Then it all changed when I was traveling back. I was living in LA at the time. I traveled one time down to San Diego, and in San Diego, there's this whole community of like spiritual entrepreneur type people. A lot of people that are coaches live in that area. It's known as a hotbed for that sort of thing. And I didn't know any successful coaches besides my friend who I met on the internet, Ryan, I told you about. But I knew there was a community here, so I would travel back and forth to San Diego to try and make friends with these other successful people. I'm like, they seem like they know what they're doing. I'm going to hang out with them and ask and buy their lunch or something. So one day I was having a conversation with this gal named Lauren. She was a coach. It's sort of like a life coach. And I was telling her my whole sob story about why my life was so hard and why there's no clients and why I'm struggling and I got all these problems, my business, and how she should feel sorry for me and I have no money. And then she asked me a very simple pointed question. I mean, she just like put all the bullshit aside, which is what good coaches do. And she said, well, who's mentoring you? And I said, well, nobody. I don't have enough money to hire a mentor right now. If I did, I would happily invest with somebody to teach me. And she said, this, it changed my life forever. She said, that is the exact problem that would be solved if you got a mentor. And it was like a light bulb switched on for me. I realized that my problem wasn't that I didn't have money. My problem was that I didn't know how to make money when I needed it. And if I use this wonderful thing in Western society called credit, other people's money, essentially, to get the skills that I needed to make money, then not only could I pay back the credit, but I could also give myself that permanent skill of being able to make money by changing lives for a living. And so, literally after that conversation, I was like, I got to get a mentor. Do you know anybody? And she introduced me to somebody. I had no money. I already maxed out on my credit cards, but I had a little bit of money coming in from my door-to-door sales job literally that week, like from a job I'd sold 6 months prior. And I called my dad and asked my dad. I was super embarrassed to do this, but I asked my dad to let me borrow some money to invest in this mentor. But as soon as I invested in that mentor, as soon as I got over my fear of looking stupid or over my fear of losing out or or I don't know, it not being a good investment or whatever, all those bullshit reasons why I shouldn't invest in myself. I shouldn't go after this hardcore. The next month, I went from making $1,000 a month to $4,000 in that very next month online with a tiny audience with basically no experience doing this. And then after that first month, I didn't have enough money to invest the second month of the program. So I used the last asset that I had, this earth, and that was my car. I sold my car so that I could make the second payment to that mentor. Because I was like, listen, my car will lead me back to doing door-to-door sales again. I don't want to do that. I'm going to cut that off. I can work from home now, so I'm going to sell the car and prove it to myself that I can do this. And then that next month, I made $12,000 in my online coaching business, my online training business. And over the next 5 months, I went from $12,000 to $16,000 to $19,000, $18,000, $19,000. Essentially made six figures in my first 7 months after hiring my first mentor. And after that time, I was like, people started asking me that knew me. They're like, how the hell did you make all this cash, man? Okay, I knew you when you were broke living out of your Honda. Can you give me the secrets? Because most trainers, especially trainers, health coaches, I know they probably make a little bit more, because most health coaches, they start having like full-time jobs in some other industry and then come over. Trainers often are making like 24 grand a year, like on average, like barely making ends meet or less. Okay, that's the average. And so they're like, how the hell are you making 20 grand a month or 19 grand a month? Are you serious right now? And it's like, I've been in this game 10 years and I'm still not there. And so then at first I was like, I'm not sharing shit with you. Okay, you figured out your own damn self. All right, I had to figure it out the hard way. You can do it too. I was a little sassy. Okay. But then I realized that my bigger vision here, the reason why I got into coaching at all was, yes, I wanted to make a full-time income. Yes, I wanted freedom to work from anywhere. But ultimately, I'm passionate about this work because my life had been so deeply changed by a coach, by being coached physically, having a body transformation. I want that gift to be available to more people. There's so many sick people. There's so many overweight people, so many unhappy people, so many like super low energy, insecure people that need this support. My life was changed by it. Their life can be too. And I realized that the bigger thing that I could do for people is or the different thing that I could do is to train coaches, is to train trainers and health coaches to build profitable businesses, and the trickle-down effect would be changing more lives through their businesses. And so over the last couple of years, since I transitioned to that, we've trained over 1,000 fit pros and health pros to grow full-time online training or health coaching businesses. In just the last year, 100 of them have reached six figures a year, and reached $100,000 in income. And it all started, though, from me being homeless, having no experience. I tell people, if I could do this, you could do this, because I was super messed up, and I can still figure it out with the help of mentors. So that's the start of it.
Wow. That's going to be a tough story to beat. Listen up, all you other podcast guests. That's going to be a tough one to beat.
Absolutely. I heard so much in there. I think everybody listening can totally relate to just kind of randomly getting out there and not knowing what they're doing. And it's better than nothing, right? I mean, it's better than nothing. You bring clients in, but everybody, I think, can relate to this kind of feeling bogged down in the minutia and not really knowing what you're doing. I also heard one of the game-changing things is switching things up and surrounding yourself by people that you know can help you.
Yes.
Physically being there and physically being around those people. And the other thing that's interesting about, I think, your mindset too is, and maybe it's worth, from a mindset point of view, how much easier is it for you to take a leap when you feel like you don't have anything to lose? I mean, you're already homeless, right? Yeah. Versus someone like me. I have a family of 6. I have 4 kids, right? So I didn't have I'm going to sell, like, that kind of couldn't happen for me, but that didn't make it. So it was super, super scary. But at the same time, there's still a path to do it. Right. And kind of doing that. And what I'm curious about, the people that you work with and the people that you help, where do you think kind of they're coming from? What's their biggest fear that's holding them back?
Fear of failure. Definitely. Yeah. The fear of failure, which manifests itself as procrastination, asking questions like, well, how do I even get started? Oftentimes what's buried underneath the how do I start or I don't know where to start is the fear of taking action or doing anything. And so I've seen so many health coaches come to me and they're like, Sterling, I would be taking action. I would be getting clients, but I don't even know where to start. I don't have a website yet, or I don't have enough followers yet, or I don't have enough blah, 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 blah. Bullshit. Okay? So many clients right now waiting to be sold into your coaching program. All you have to do is two things. First of all, you got to know who you want to work with. Number two, you got to use a selling system that brings them in. And there is no shortage of information and support on how to get clients. If I tell the person right now, if you're telling yourself that, oh, it's so hard to get clients, or I don't know where to start, that's because you haven't chosen to get clients. That's because you haven't chosen to get help. There is unlimited numbers of people that can help you get a system where you can get $3,000 or $4,000 in clients your first month. I mean, I literally see it all the time. I'll just give you a recent example. One of my clients, Nico, just came in. Nico Dumadog, he'd been following me for a year, putting it off, saying, oh, I don't know where to start, or I can't do it right now, and maybe later, and once I get more stable with my income, I need to make sure I protect my family first, or something that you said, Laura, because he has 2 kids and a wife that he has to take care of and provide for. So it was like, oh, let me just get a little bit more secure first. But then it came that day where it was like, enough is enough. I've seen, and he was in my Facebook group, he's seen like hundreds of other people posting how much money they're making, $10,000 this month, $20,000 this month, $30,000 this month. And he's like, he had that moment, which everybody has to come to this moment before they're going to be successful. They're like, fuck it. What have I got to lose?
Right, exactly.
Fuck it. What I'm doing is not working for me. I'm not happy. I know there's more available. I'm in. Let's go. And so in that moment, he actually used the leverage of needing to succeed fast for his family as additional fuel rather than as a break or as a stop. I say, people, for wherever you are, use what you have to get you into action. Get leverage on yourself to move. For me, it was like I got nothing to fucking lose. Yeah. I'll sell my car if I have to. I don't mind living on the streets. I've done that before. For somebody else, it's like I have to succeed because I got to put food on the table. Yeah. I've seen other people do it. And I got to do it for my kids. I got to do it for my husband, my wife. And so I'm going to show up and I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to listen to that coach, do whatever they say, and get results. And if I don't, then I'm going to ask them for my money back because, you know, I did exactly what they said and it didn't work. So with a good coach, that's not going to be the case. The biggest problem is people's unwillingness to take action or their fear of failure.
Yes.
Oh, so anyway, with Nico, I got to just share the end of that because it's relevant. With Nico, his first month he comes in and he makes 10 grand. He's never done this before. His next month he comes in, he makes 15 grand. His third month he comes in, he makes 30 grand. And this is all from zero.
Yeah.
And this is just acquiring online high ticket trading clients. So and I just tell him, it's like, what if you'd done this a year ago? What would your life look like now if you hadn't put it off, bro?
Yes. Well, that's where my mind was going as you're weaving that tale of Nico, because, you know, on a personal note, I've made 2019 my year of toe dipping into personal development, right? So that requires a financial investment. So I think we'll probably talk a little bit about money mindset and, you know, Nico has a certain money mindset, maybe from his upbringing, maybe because of his current situation. You probably have a really unique money mindset because you had zero when you're living in your car, and all that stuff is really cool. But the other resource that's important is time, and we forget about that. And so anytime I dropped my credit card this year on a personal development thing that I couldn't afford financially, you know, I would have buyer's remorse, like, oh, I shouldn't, I would talk myself into it by saying, this time is going to pass anyway. Like, forget the money. This time is going to go. It's going to be gone. This is my only chance right now, time-wise, to do this. If I don't do this now, this opportunity's gone. You know, that sounds like a weird scarcity mindset for time, but I do have a scarcity mindset for time because I want more time. Like the script is really flipped for me lately. It's like money, yeah, but time. You know, and so, you know, so I think with the Nico story, he had to make a choice, like, to make the investment. But whenever we're investing in these things, remember that the time is going to pass anyway. So why not invest in the time to just up your game, right?
Yes. Well, you're going to spend the time either way. The question is, do you want to spend your time struggling?
Yeah,
that's what happens if you try on your own. You're just going to spend a longer amount of time struggling before you get to where you want to go. But if you invest, you just spend more time in the success and less time in the struggle.
Yeah.
Right.
You just trade money for that. It's like, how much time do you want to spend struggling or like on top of the world because you're doing what you're meant to do.
Well, I just think it's interesting because, we talk to a lot of coaches too, like you do. We hear the same thing. I don't know how to get started. And it's this failure to launch. And a lot of people are held back by thinking they don't know enough and thinking they're not important enough and all these imposter syndrome statements. But it means they're wasting time. Like you're wasting time. Just please do something.
100%. And it's your only non-renewable resource. Dude, you are not getting that back, right?
Yes.
You might as well spend it in the moment moving closer to your goal rather than staying still or farther away from it. I just, I love that. And I love the other thing I heard was like selling that car wasn't just selling the car. It was cutting the ties.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, it was a firm commitment. Because here's the thing. Most people, they hang on to the past. They hang on to their safety net, quote unquote. And it's actually not a safety net. It's a burden. It's this big burlap sack on their back that's holding them down, that's keeping them from focusing on their vision. Most people are looking backwards, hoping that someone will catch them, whether that's the government or their family or their 401k or their whatever, instead of looking forward towards their dream, towards their legacy, towards what they want to create for their family. Hell, what they want to create for themselves, like how they want to feel every day about who they are as a person. And unfortunately, because of that, because people focus on the back, they live in insecurity. They have negative thoughts that keep rolling through their minds. And it's so important for coaches to become aware of these negative thought patterns that hold them back, because if they don't and they don't reverse it, they can never lead other people to break those negative thought patterns as well. The I'm not good enough, or I'll never make it, or the special person, not me. All that stuff is made up. They are telling themselves that, and they feel like it's true, but it's just because it's a habit, because maybe their parents said that to them, or maybe society's saying that to them. But that's all made up. That, hell, if they did it, if Nico can do it, I can do it. If Aaron did it, then I can do it too. We're not special. These people can succeed. Why not me? I have the same amount of time as them. I have the same ability to take action as them. Why not me? Why not now? And when someone wakes up to this new reality that's literally right in front of their face, they see just in a moment that it can all be theirs too. It's like the blinders lifted off the burlap sack. As I say, let me give you an example. Like my client Jen, one of my clients, she's worked with me now for over a year and a half. And when she first came to me, she had been posting content on Instagram. She's like a creative person. She was an art director at a firm in San Diego County, and she wasn't getting paid well. She was getting paid like, I don't know, $35,000 a year, which is not that much in San Diego.
Right.
You could barely get by. In other places, that might be like $15,000. I mean, it's just like, it's not that much. But she was a creative person, as many health coaches are. They're very creative. They love beautiful visuals. I found, actually, as a contrast between personal trainers and health coaches, that health coaches tend to be more like visually stimulated and like creative and like design and things like that. Not all, but more so. And anyway, she's really interested in that, but she'd never been certified as a trainer. She just had a massive weight loss journey herself. She'd lost 50 pounds, and she's 24. So she had like gotten really big in college and then lost it all again. But she came to me and she's like, I know that there's more for me in life. I know that there's more for me in life than doing this job. I mean, I like my job. It's all right, but I want to do something meaningful. Like, especially the younger generation, they're like, meaning is important to them in their work. But she's like, I don't know how to do this. I never started a business. I don't have anybody in my family that knows business. I don't even know if I'm capable of this. I want it, but I don't know if I'm capable of it. And I told her, I said, why not you? Why not now? Here's the thing. There's only 3 things you need to master if you're going to build this business. Number 1 is you have to know where to find clients. Number 2, you have to know how to sell clients. There's a process for all of this. It's literally just reading words off a page. And number 3, you have to know how to structure a transformation, which, by the way, isn't that complicated. If you can, like, people just need to eat more vegetables, drink more water, sleep more often, reduce stress in their life. Like, I'm not saying it's all that, but 80% of it is that. It's really just that simple to get results and lose weight. And so what happened when I gave her that confidence, because she had nobody else in her life that was telling her that it's actually this easy. She hadn't been in this community. She didn't know. It's like most trainers and health coaches are skeptical when I'll say the story of somebody like Nico, because they don't know anybody else that's making bank like that.
Right.
They may know other people that are certified. They don't know that it's like, oh, freedom is really possible. And because she was just like, I'll believe whatever you say, Sterling. Like, just tell me what to do. Her first month, she makes $7,000. Her next month, she makes $12,000. Her next month, she makes $13,000. Now she makes $30,000 a month in her online health coaching business from nothing. But it's all because she chose to drop the limiting beliefs that were given to her by her family, who still thinks it's crazy what she's doing, by the way. Most people's families think that what they're doing is crazy because it's not normal that you can get paid to do what you love. But,
I know. So sad.
It's sad, right? It's like the norm is, let me just, like, the numbers are staggering. 80% of people are not happy doing what they're doing for work.
Right.
80%. Can you believe that? Oh, thank God I'm in the 20% because, man, I just got too used to this. This is too good. But anyway, it's like most people need to just drop the negative beliefs. And Lord, you highlighted it. I changed my community. It changed the trajectory of my life. It's the same with Jen. And the only reason why I learned that, thank God for Tony Robbins. I don't know if you guys follow Tony Robbins, heard his content.
Yeah.
Okay, huge influence on me, as many people that are in our space. He's kind of just like paved the way for a lot of us to do the work that we do today. And when I was first starting my personal development journey, I went to his event, Unleash the Power Within. It's 50 hours, 4 days, very intense, like a rock concert, but you become self-aware through the process, or more self-aware. And at the end of the 4 days, there was one thing he said on the final day, and it changed my life. He said, literally, if you forget everything else from this entire event and remember one thing, this is the most important thing. Now, when you get a lead up like that, I'm leaning in. I don't know about you, but I'm like, oh, hell. Like, I can forget everything else? Okay, I'm good. I'm writing this down. And he said, proximity is power. And who you surround yourself with is who you become. And it's like automatic. I'm sure you two ladies know this for sure, that when you're around negative people, all of a sudden you're like, man, the weather's not good today, or, oh, this water isn't cold enough, or, oh, my shoes don't fit. Like, whatever. You just notice shit to complain about. But it's not because that's who you are. It's because that's what you've surrounded yourself with. On the other hand, if you're around happy people, you're like, I have no reason to be happy, but I am anyway. And it's because you're around people that are pointing you towards what's good in life. I could go on and on. It's a very super long tangent, but
okay. Tony Robbins gets so many shout outs on this podcast, honestly. And he actually kicked off my personal development journey this year. That was the first thing I bought, was a ticket to Tony Robbins event. So I felt like I joined the ranks of a nice community here. And I love what you just said about like this whole idea of you are the sum of the people you spend the most time with. I've heard that soundbite before. I had that actual reality check last weekend. I was at a personal development event last weekend in San Diego, believe it or not, and it was a coaching event, and they dropped that soundbite. It's like, boy, I'm not spending time with anybody actually who is pulling me toward what I have to change that. And I've also heard this. Do you know Chris Harder? Does that name ring a bell to you?
Yeah, he's a friend of mine. Yeah.
Is that right? Oh, well, he's on his podcast, I think it was. He said one of his like wealth consciousness tips is like, go to the most expensive hotel in your city and sit at the bar. Just sit at the bar at the most expensive, exclusive hotel in your city and just hang out with rich people. Listen to what they talk about and just be immersed in their energy. And I was like, that's actually genius advice, you know, because otherwise I don't know what it's like to be a wealthy person, because I don't have that in my consciousness. But to be surrounded by it, you draw some of that energy. I think there's a lot of power in that. I do.
Yes. Literally, there's like magic in just listening to wealthy people talk. Like literally just hearing the words they say. Like if you just train yourself to get that into your consciousness, and you could do it on podcasts too. Like just listen to wealthy people. Listen to Chris Harder's podcast as an example. Like listen to the way he talks. If you just get that thinking into your head and you cut out all of the people that have a poverty consciousness in your life, which is, oh, just make enough money to get by, or you don't need any more than $50,000 a year, or whatever it is that comes up, or you just like fill your mind with that negativity, then you'll start to attract that and become that and focus on that. But if instead you hang around people that have actual freedom and believe that to become more wealthy is to be more of service to other people, which is my genuine belief, then of course you'll be motivated to become wealthy and attract more wealth. You're going to actually be doing more good for the world to get that money that you do want. And that's why I think that becoming wealthy is a virtue to be sought after, because in order to receive it and keep it, you have to add more value to other people than anyone else is currently doing or willing to do.
It's interesting. Sorry, but I just because when you were telling your story, and I didn't really have a line of sight on your story before because I didn't have time to read it beforehand. So I was like, what, you lived in your car? And I was thinking, I wrote down what's this guy's money mindset? What is this guy's money mindset? Because a lot of that is, we've been told that your money mindset is kind of like based on your upbringing. Your wealth consciousness comes a lot from your upbringing, right? So baby boomer parents, just kind of like you said, you make a middle class wage, you go a little house poor, you collect a paycheck every 2 weeks until you retire and die, and that's life, yay! And so that's the upbringing that I'm fighting against. Now you're a guy who had no money, lived in your car, and you still have your arms around this idea of wealth consciousness. Do you think, like, what was your, this is getting into the weeds, but like your upbringing in terms of like understanding wealth? Did you, like, what was that scenario like? Did you have to
Oh
break
man.
free of something?
Yes. Oh my
Okay.
God, yes. Yes. Because I had always had the fear that I can't make more money than my parents because then I'll lose love from them. Then I'm going to lose connection with the people that I grew up with my parent, with my family, like the people that love me most. Like I can't do that. And then I had this long stint from when I was age 16 to 24 where I was a super hardcore evangelistic Christian, like fundamentalist Christian. And within the community that I was in, it was like money is the root of all evil.
Right.
Like the pursuit of wealth is like the pursuit of selfishness. Like you only get there by caring about yourself or being about yourself. And you can't be like service oriented. Jesus was poor, so be poor. Like that whole thing was just like so ingrained in me. When I decided to become an entrepreneur, it was so hard for me to break out of the belief that if I'm going to make money, then I have to take from people. That was the belief that I had. I have to manipulate others to sell them, to get paid. I think a lot of people have that. They think that to sell is to take or to steal, in a sense. When I started seeing all these people, what changed my mindset is I started seeing all these incredible, first of all, just not personally, but I started seeing all these extraordinarily wealthy people do all of this good with their money. So people like Bill Gates, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, or Warren Buffett giving away 99% of his wealth after he passes to largely the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, but to charity. It's like these people are able to affect really positive change in the world, and they're not using it to just fucking like build stuff in their own name, although there's nothing wrong with that, but they're doing this. They're building all this wealth, and they're going to use it in service to others. So I was like, I want to be able to do more for others. I want greater wealth so that I can make a bigger difference for others myself. So I started seeing all these examples of really generous, really wealthy people. So that was like, wait a second, maybe it's not that you have to manipulate people to get paid. And then I started having conversations with other people, and I started meeting them, people that were really kind, really gentle, really loving. And of course, at San Diego, people are like, they just like breathe with you. Like when you meet them in person, I don't know if you've met some of these people. Typically people in the coach's space, you know, some spiritual types like this. I love them. I think it's great. But I was just meeting all these really kind people, and then like, oh, that month. And it was like, what the fuck? Like you can make $100,000 in a single month? Like who the hell? And then that reversed it for me because I had never met anybody that was wealthy and kind. I didn't know. I just assumed what the news said about wealthy people. Oh, they're so greedy and blah, blah, blah. Like that was the truth. It's not. That's the projection that gets more eyeballs watching the news, and that's why they sell that bullshit. But instead, being around those wealthy people that were happy to provide service provide huge amounts of service through their businesses and get paid well for it, and they were really, really good people. That was like, I want to be a wealthy, good person too.
Nice.
That's just so huge because you are so right. This is something that Aaron and I battle with our own community on helping people get over the fact that they need to charge people to make money doing this, right?
Yes.
And we keep trying to say, you got to stop. I mean, sales is not a dirty word. It's just a process. It's the name we put on the exchange. That's all you're doing. That's all money's about. It's an exchange for a service, right? And you're absolutely right. The people that do this right, the more money you have, the more you charge, the more you can give in exchange, right? If you're only charging $100 for your whatever it is, right? Then you can only give $100 worth of help and service, right? Yep. Versus if you're charging 5,000, you can probably actually, in true value, deliver on a lot more than 5,000.
So true.
Right?
So true. Yeah, I'd love to tell my clients. I say it. They just get tired of me saying it. It's like until I'm a broken record to teach these people sales, and it's like when people pay more, they pay more attention.
Yep.
People pay more. Yeah. They pay more attention. You are doing good for your clients to have them charge them more. Because if you're charging them, with your example, $100 for a 12-week program or whatever that may be, then guess how seriously that client is going to take your program? They're fucking nothing. They're not even going to show up. They're not going to show up to the calls. They're not going to give a shit about what you're saying. But if instead you charge the same client $2,000 That's gonna be a wake up call, because most likely, if you do your job right, people should be investing with you as the coach more than they've ever invested in any one place for their health and fitness in the past. And that is why they are more likely to get the result that they've been looking for. Because when people invest so much more money, it's like something switches in their brain and they're like, I have to get this value from the money that I just put in. So you're doing something good to change their mindset about what is most valuable to them, because people vote with their dollars about the things that they care about. And if you can shift somebody's literal bank account towards paying for their health, change the trajectory of their life, because just in the act, before you even $3,000 or $1,500 or whatever that number is, you get them to invest that amount of money. It's at that moment that their brain says, this is valuable. I need to pay attention to what I eat. I need to pay attention to how I work out. I need to pay attention to how I think about myself and my stress levels and how much water I'm drinking, because I'm the kind of person that invests large amounts of money in myself. Therefore, I'm going to be freaking healthy.
I love that I'm the type of person that I actually work on that language with my clients, just as a sidebar. It's a good phrase. Honestly, like that's an affirmation that everybody should be shouting in the mirror. I'm the type of person that, and then insert hopes and dreams here kind of thing. But I like, Sterling, that you do encourage the high ticket model. It's my favorite as well. I think that like when we talk about scaling business, like, so scaling, first of all, I'm not going to get off on a tangent here, but we have a lot of brand new coaches who immediately start imagining how they're going to scale a thing that doesn't even exist. But that aside, there's two ways to scale, right? So the first way to scale, which is commonly encouraged, is online groups. I'm running an online group right now. It's sucking the life out of me because it was low. It's a low ticket price, like very low. That was the whole point. Low barrier to entry. So lots of people enrolled in it, but they're not really engaged. They're not really my people. They're just people who put $70 on their credit card. They're not my people, right? I prefer scaling the one-on-one offering to a higher ticket point. I think that's my preferred way of scaling, and I don't feel like it gets enough press. So thank you for that. Can you share why? I mean, you kind of did. You just touched on it, like when people are invested, when they're paying attention. But how do you feel about scaling to online groups? Do you have an opinion on that?
Yeah, scaling from doing group coaching or more general or more like lower ticket coaching as opposed to high ticket?
Lower ticket groups, because with the lower ticket groups, each person pays less, but you can make more.
Yep. So it's so interesting we're talking about this. I have a client, Kevin, who has a large-ish audience on Instagram. And when he first came to me, he had a lot of people that followed him because he's very fit, he's very muscular and so on. And he was barely making like $2,500 a month, even with his big audience, because he was selling these lower ticket offerings where he didn't have to provide as much value to people, like 12-week periods of time. You're going to get this kind of support from me. It's pretty low. And he found that, first of all, not only did he not like it as much because he wasn't able to really make sure that people were getting the value, like getting the results that they were actually paying for, but he also realized that like his clients were just not that invested. Like they just didn't care. Like they just really didn't show up and get the value because they didn't have much to lose that was on the table. So I shifted him. I said, when you start charging more, I want you to start minimum $1,500 for 12 weeks. You don't have to call it one-on-one coaching because it's not. Do a leveraged group model that's still high touch, a high touch group model, so that you can get your team in behind you on this. Once it starts to scale, you'll get a team behind you that can do it. And it's not one-to-one with you, okay? Because people get stuck on like, let me just charge more one-to-one. And then there's a ceiling to that. You have to stop at some point in order to get to, say, 7 figures in your health coaching business. You have to change the model. But anyway, I wanted to set him up to have a 7-figure coaching business. And so he shifted $1,500, and then on the back end, he would sell like a $6,000 or $7,000 program for a year-long worth of coaching. What he noticed right away, he started selling this. He shifted his business model immediately. Again, young guy, very impressionable. And then almost within 3 months, he was making $12,000 a month. His first month, I think he made $6,000. He's just shifting over to the model. His second month, he made $10,000, and then the third month, he was making $12,000. Within 6 months, he was making $30,000 a month. Now he makes $50,000 a month doing online training with this model, and he's not doing the coaching. Like he's not doing the one-on-ones with the clients anymore. Like he has a staff. He has somebody else that's doing the sales for him. He has somebody else that's doing the outreach and booking the appointments and doing the calls for his people. He's got an EA, somebody that takes care of his calendar and all that stuff. but he could never have the leverage to hire a team to do these things. He could never have the referrals that help drive his business success today if he didn't get amazing results, which I believe you can only get really amazing results every time when you charge high ticket for a bunch of reasons, which a few I've already explained. And then he can now scale, truly scale, because he's got margins on what he's selling that you just can't get with low ticket. You're just not going to get nearly the same margins to be able to hire a team behind you and support you.
Yes.
Thank you. That sums it all up right there. You know, so much of this just goes back to a coach's feeling of their own worth, right? And it's typically new people that don't have, you know, the personal experience. But if you don't value you and you don't feel worthy, then your clients won't either. So now your program is coaching people into how to do this, right? It's called the Life Changer Academy.
The Life Changer Academy. Yep.
Yeah. So I'd love for you to speak to that. And I would love for you to speak to how you help new coaches kind of get over some of these things, because it's a really, really tough nut to crack. Is it really just hold your breath, pinch your nose, do it so that you can get through it and realize, okay, that wasn't so bad. Yeah. Now I see why it works.
Yeah. So are you saying how to break which particular belief? Because I want to make sure I answer this.
Well, the first one I think is this. Okay, so I guess there's two sides to this. First of all, am I worth it? And we do have that subset of people that are like, but I want a smaller ticket option for people that can't afford me. Like, I feel really bad not being available to folks that just don't have the money. I want to be able to help those people in some capacity. Do you have an answer to that?
Absolutely. Totally. What I say first is, well, let me answer the second. I'll come back to the first. So.
Okay.
So I really want to serve the lower ticket option too. Some people can't afford it to do the higher ticket. Remember, can't afford it is a decision. It's a choice. People invest in what they value. The same person that can't afford higher ticket coaching is going to go on that vacation to Cabo and put it on a credit card. They're going to buy the $30,000 car and put it on payments that they can't afford. Right. Like they're gonna invest somewhere. They're gonna find things to put money to invest. They're gonna buy the house they can't afford and get a house payment that's too much money or whatever. They'll find something because they'll invest in Lululemon clothes. They'll buy way too many clothes because it's important to them, because they value it. So first of all, I say that very, very carefully. And by the way, in case you didn't know, people that are broke are easier to sell to than people that have more money. And the reason why is because broke people got that way through poor spending habits.
Yeah.
And so they're more loose with their money to get whatever they have. They're easily invested in other places. So like even selling high ticket program to broke people, I think you can totally do, and it's easier to do in some ways, as long as you use the right method, than selling a lower ticket program. And plus it's going to make that broke person value your program and get more out of it. So that's one thing that I need to mention is that it's the decision for somebody to say I can't afford it is a choice. Now, additionally here, I tell my clients to definitely sell a lower ticket offering, which is lower touch, but only after they build the foundation with high ticket first, because I want somebody to not have to worry about money anymore. I want them to have their needs taken care of. And the fastest route to do that is to sell a $1,500, $2,000, $2,500 coaching program, get a few base of clients every single month. And then when you're making 8, 10, 12 grand a month, and it's like clockwork, you know that, you trust it, then you can offer a program that's a couple $100 or $300 or something like that, which is low touch, but just gives the meal plans, the coaching, whatever, like in a group setting that will get other people results. But start with the foundation and then add in a service which is still going to add some value, but it's not just going to be like the core driver of your business. So, did you have a comment on that?
No, we agree with you. We would,
okay.
We say that all the time. So thank you for that. Yep.
Cool. Build like first things first. I always tell my clients like first things first, second things second, third things third. First things first, things second, third things third. Most people that are new coaches, they want it all at once. They're like, I'm ready to scale. I'm like, how much money you made this month? 2,000. I'm like, you're not ready to scale. You haven't proven a basic business model yet. Like, get the core foundation first, and then we'll talk about building a team, running Facebook ads, building webs. Like, all that stuff is later. But let's get you a core offer that produces income for you, makes you feel secure, establishes your future, your place in the marketplace, and then we'll move forward. Now, as far as the are you worth it thing, again, I think that worthiness is simply a choice. It's just a choice that we make. If I feel if I feel like I'm not worthy or I feel that I am, those are just choices. However, that choice is almost always directed by who we're around.
Mm-hmm.
It is directed by the financial and success temperature of the people that are close to us. What an interesting exercise that I started to do is I just constantly look at who were the last 5 people I was texting, who were the last 5 people I was calling, and just keep refreshing myself, like, who am I interacting with? Because if I'm interacting with people that have the life that I want, the relationship that I want, the amount of money that I want, the health and vitality and happiness that I want, then I'm going to become that. That will be who I am. But if I look at my phone and it's my mom and it's my brother and it's my friend from high school and it's all these people that are making $30,000 a year that are unhappy with their lives, that don't have a vision of a better life, or overweight, like if those are the people that you hang out with or that you're just talking to, then even if you love those people because they're your family or whatever, then you'll become that. And so one of the fastest things you can do and the most simple things you can do to change your worthiness level is get into a community of people who kick ass and are proud of it. One of the things that we do in our community was, like, it's such an important part of our culture. I think if you're going to have a community where people win at a high level, then you got to make those people fucking proud of their wins when they have it. So we have this thing in our community where anytime somebody signs a new client, whether it's 2,000 or 5,000 or 8,000 or 9,000, as we had one client signed a couple $9,000 clients the last couple days, it's like whenever somebody signs a new client, they put hashtag gains, G-A-I-N-Z, in our community.
Got it.
And then they'll share it with the whole community. Because here's my belief, is that when people share their wins, when they talk about their wins with pride, then they will win more. When winning is celebrated, then winning is encouraged. When people focus on, they create more of. And so in my community, I want people to focus on their losses, on what's wrong, on what they can't do, on all their mistakes, because that's the way most of the world lives their life and thinks. And that is why they stay stuck. Their life is static. But if you focus on your wins, on your positive qualities and what's good in your life, then literally without even thinking about it, your brain will start to notice more opportunities to create wins in your life, to find more clients like that, to do more of what got you those clients. And so I tell my clients, to sum this all up, is that this is a place where it is safe for you to shine. This is a community where it's safe for you to shine. When people feel like, oh, I'm not going to be judged for winning, I'm not going to be judged for making money, which is, most of the time this is the first community where that's the real case for them. Then they're like, oh, I am worthy of this. It's okay for me. I'm going to be secure even as I grow.
Yeah. You make a case there too for a mastermind group, because that's the other thing I was thinking when I got that reality check at the workshop I was at last weekend. Like, the 5 people I spend the most time with are not stretching me and growing me. That's just a fact. It is my family. It is my physically close friends that live near me, and they're not in the space that I'm in, and they're not in the space that I want to play in. So maybe it's time to seek out a mastermind group, one that you have to pay into, like where it's like legit or something. You know, what do you think about that kind of thing?
Oh my God, masterminds, hallelujah. Thank goodness for masterminds, for high-level accountability groups, for all of these things. Because I can say for sure, it was a couple years ago, I joined a mastermind by Lewis Howes. Okay, Lewis Howes was from when I was early on in business. I started training him. I actually tried to introduce him to podcast guests to help him grow his podcast, just trying to add value to his life. As we became friends, and eventually I joined his mastermind the next year when he first launched his mastermind. I was making at the time $20,000 a month. Okay, this was just after my first year in business. On average, just making $20,000 or $30,000 a month, depending on the month. And I was the least successful person in the entire mastermind. Like, everybody else was making $40,000 a month or $100,000 a month. They're successful people than me. And after I got in, I was like, I don't really fit here. Like, why the hell did you even let me in? And Lewis winked at me. He's like, I know that you'll grow through this. You'll grow through this. And what happened was over the course of that year, I went from making $20,000 a month. I felt so challenged and so inspired to do more because I was in that community of other badasses, that by 7 months in, I was making over $300,000 a month in my online coaching business. And I received an award on stage at his event for the greatest transformation in the mastermind. Because I had come from the lowest to making this huge leap forward in that short amount of time. And the reason why is because I got around all these people and I'm like, man, maybe I'm playing a little small.
Yeah.
Maybe I can reach for more. Maybe Lewis sees that I'm the same as all of these other people that are kicking major ass. So I'm going to start acting like it. I'm going to start showing up that way and getting those results too.
Yeah. I love that you got the most improved trophy. That's usually the one you don't want to get in sports. But I had the same thought. I thought I was seeking out these mastermind groups, these really exclusive ones. And I had this thought in my head, like, oh, that's way out of my league. And then I was like, no, you know what? I want to be the little broke as a joke newbie in the group. I want to be the lowest totem on the totem pole of that group because I want to be lifted by those amazing, impressive humans.
Cool. Yeah. You're going to play up to the talent that surrounds you, right? Or it's like going back to when my oldest played travel sports. He was on a team of kind of misfits, let's be honest, right? Like basketball players, but they played in a really, really tough league and they got their ass handed to them every time. But I will tell you, they got better every game.
Yeah. I bet they did.
Yeah, but they did. They played up, they, and what was interesting about the whole thing is rather than these kids getting down all the time, their coach, it was his decision to join this league. And he told them why. And he's like, because by the end of the season, that you are going to be a whole different team. I expect us to not win. Maybe we will, but what I expect you to work on are these skills. And he was able to tie improvements in skill, improvements in how they're doing things, improvements to how they view other things outside the game, just because they were playing in an environment that was like this level up, because at first as a parent, they're so dejected. They're not like, it's embarrassing, but that's me as the mom. The kids were having a blast. They were proud that he got a 3-point shot, right? He's always the shortest, whatever. But this is just an analogy for getting out of your comfort zone, right? And rather than, because I see this a lot with people whose comfort zone is being the big fish in the small pond and terrified of moving into a situation where you're the little fish in a bigger pond, right? But at some point, you got to be able to grow, and you're just never going to be able to keep growing if you're the biggest fish in the small pond.
Yeah, a question I often ask myself is, what's more important? Is it my ego or my growth? Is it my ego? Is that I feel self-important, or is it that I push for more and do more for others? Because if my primary driver, if what my mindset is focused on is not trying to keep my self-identity safe, which is what ego is, not trying to protect how I view myself, but instead I'm open to a better way of living, to people that are way more kick-ass than me, and allow them to guide me towards a better future and vision, then I'm going to feel way more fulfilled. Maybe I'm not going to experience as much quote-unquote certainty in the short term mentally, because I'm going to be like kind of on edge, like, oh, fuck, they're like way better than me. But what's going to happen is I'm going to start growing rapidly automatically. Because if I'm uncomfortable and I'm going to raise my game to match their level, then I'm going to really feeling that level of fulfillment, which people that just kind of are the best person or the smartest person in their room that will never feel. They'll never feel fulfilled. They'll always have that emptiness in their life, knowing that maybe there is something more, but certainly not in I don't see it anywhere around me, so I'm not going to push for it.
Right. Yeah. It's huge. It's becoming, in my mind, one of the biggest things, like our environment and what we surround ourselves with and the energy that we create is becoming one of the biggest facets for success in this space. But I want to go back to something from the very beginning. I think you dropped this, or you hinted at it when you were telling us your origin story, that entrepreneurship is not something that comes naturally to you. And the reason I want to bring this forward, and maybe I got that wrong, you correct me if I'm wrong, but we've heard so many different viewpoints on this during this podcast. So we'll get some really successful entrepreneurs on here, very successful people. And some of them will say, entrepreneurs are not born, they're made. Then others will say, no, they're born. You're born entrepreneur. And I just want to know what you think. And so where are you on that spectrum? And were you able to massage and manipulate that at all?
Absolutely made. Absolutely made. Definitely not born, because I was not born an entrepreneur. This was not in my blood. This is not from my family. This was not in my mindset growing up. I didn't have dreams of this. It wasn't a goal of mine. It wasn't even something that I was authentically, in my mind, the way that I wasn't built for it. I didn't have the mental fortitude for it. However, by putting myself consistently in environments around other kick-ass people, and instead of looking at those other entrepreneurs, looking at those other leaders and saying, as I used to when I was growing up, oh, it must be nice. Those are the special people. They have something that I don't have. Instead of looking at them and creating separation between me and them, I started looking at them and saying, well, if they can do it, I can do it. If they can do it, I can do it. I started looking at other people's success as an example of what's possible for me if I make different choices in life. And I think that's the same thing with, is everyone built to be an entrepreneur? Like, not everybody will choose to be an entrepreneur,
Right.
but anybody that chooses the right habits and skills to become that can acquire it. It's just like, that's like saying that you are either born for a great marriage or you're not. Like, of course you're not. Like, great marriages are made. They're not born. Sure, are there some personality types which are more naturally successful in marriage than others, like genetically speaking? Of course, because if you're more agreeable by nature, which is a genetic tendency that you either have more of or less of, then you are going to find that you're much less conflict driven in relationships, and that will serve you. However, that is not to say that somebody that is less agreeable in relationship cannot learn the skill of being of letting the small stuff go, or whatever it is, or of letting the less important things not be magnified. You can learn that skill. It's a skill that's acquired, that can be acquired. So all this to say, are some people more naturally bent towards being entrepreneurs by their personality type? Of course. But if somebody wants this, if they want the freedom associated with it, they want the impact associated with it, they want the security and the love and the fulfillment, they can have it. They have to make different choices. And it's going to be harder for some people to make those shifts and changes personally, but this is why I don't focus on the difficulty with becoming who I need to become an entrepreneur. I focus on who's already done this, and then how can I model what they've already done to achieve my success. It's one of the reasons why I constantly read biographies of people that are kick-ass across fields. Like, for example, I'm reading the story right now of this amazing black general named Alexander Dumas, who's the father of the novelist Alexander Dumas, who wrote the book Three Musketeers, The Count of Monte Cristo, very famous novels. And is his father was this incredible general and was a leader as a black man long before like the racism was in the state that it is now. Like, people were more accepting to different races at that time. Although as he grew up and as he grew in leadership, racism rose with it. Anyway, fascinating, incredible story of how he came from nothing to become one of the great leaders in Napoleon's army at one time in the army. But I'm constantly reading stories of business people or of old generals or of great philanthropy leaders and servants and all these kinds of people, because I want to train my mind to see that I can move from pain, from poverty, from nothing, from the lowest places to whatever level I want. And if I keep filling my mind with those stories, then I'm going to become that. Literally, I will start to mirror it. I will start to create more of that success in my life too. So if you're saying to yourself, maybe I'm not built for being an entrepreneur, maybe you're not, but you can build yourself into it.
Yeah.
If you choose that.
You know, there's such a parallel with health transformation, because like, how many times has a client said, I'm just destined to be overweight? It's like,
Right.
no,
I'm
you know,
being owned.
it's so funny, but like, and health coaches can listen to a statement like that and say, oh, that's hogwash. We can work with your genetic potential. But then when they're stepping into their greatness, they're like, well, no, I'm not, I can't. It's so funny how we get these blocks up.
So I always say to that point, Aaron, be the client that you want to attract.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
Be the client that you want to attract. If you want clients that are more open to change, that are more coachable, because that's what being coachable is. It's like, yeah, I can change and I will. Like, if you want more clients that are coachable, be fucking coachable. You want clients that invest in yourself.
Yeah.
You want clients that have positive self-talk, have some positive fucking self-talk.
Yes.
You'll start to have more people show up in your life that are that way.
So you were talking about the habits and skills that can be learned to be an entrepreneur. So I'm assuming you teach some of these in your program, right? The Life Changer Academy. Can you speak to what some of those are and how you address those in your program?
Yes, totally. So I'll give you an example. Like, when Jamie first came, Jamie Morocco is one of my clients, and when she first came to me, she'd been literally coaching for like a decade, okay? Over a decade online, doing online training or online health coaching. And when she came to me, she was like maxing at around $5,000 a month, okay? After a decade of doing this, she'd been getting $5,000. I think she'd gotten 1 month, $7,000 a month, but never made more than that, which is not a bad income, but it took her a long fucking time to get there. When she came to me, I realized that she's still, it's not about time. In business, it's not about how much time you've been in the game that determines what success level you're on. It has nothing to do with time. It has everything to do with skills. What skills you have and implement consistently will define your level of success. And so I said, the first skill we got to work with you on, Jamie, is your skill of sales. You have to learn the skill of influence. And that comes first with mindset, believing that sales is a good thing, believing that you are an authority, believing that investment is a good thing for the client to do for their own psychological well-being, all those things. It's mindset. But then it's process. Like, here's how you set the frame at the beginning of a call. Here's how you establish their challenges. Here's how you get to the real pain behind whatever they share with you as the front-end bullshit pain. Here's how you extend the price and you don't back down and you're quiet after you mention the price. Like, have to go to the process of figuring out how they're going to invest for it. It's like there's all that strategic stuff that comes after the mindset. So I trained her in all these things. And then what happened? In her first month, she made 15 grand. She's never made anything close to this. It's like all this time she knew how to get the result for the client, which, by the way, Primal Health Coach Institute, I've looked into what you guys do, and like, holy shit, like the level of preparation that you guys give to your clients to get results for people with Mark's, with Mark's system and brand is like absolutely extraordinary. I love the work that you're doing. However, unfortunately, that's often not enough. That's not, from a skill set perspective, that's not enough to get, say, a 6-figure business online or a 7-figure business online. It's just the basic skill that you need to deliver the service. Okay, there's several skills in it, but to deliver the service, that's number one. But then you got to learn sales. Once you learn sales, the next thing that you have to learn is the skill of content creation and creativity. Okay, you have to learn how to market yourself in a very simple way. And at first, when people join my program, I'm like, okay, here's the content. Just post these pieces. It's kind of like a white label business. I'm like, all right, post these pieces of content for what? That's your market. Okay, for your market, use these pieces of content. And so when they first get started, it's like they can get a big cash burst without having to learn that skill. They just focus on sales. But then after that, I'm teaching them how they can create their own content using my frameworks and systems to attract their ideal clients. Because then once you have that skill, you can really build a multi-6-figure business without a large following. With just those those 3 skills: the skill of delivery, the skill of sales, and the skill of basic organic level marketing. This is before you get into all the analytical stuff, all of the scaling stuff that comes with, say, using social media advertising or YouTube advertising. Like, don't start there, because there's some complexity in that that can be overwhelming, especially for somebody that's new and not maybe technically inclined, which most people that want to do coaching businesses are not technically inclined.
Right.
We're creatively inclined, but not, say, technically. To start, it's a skill that comes later on. But those first few skills are marketing, basic skill of sales, and then once you learn that skill of sales and that skill of basic marketing, then you're going to start to learn the skill of replacing yourself in delivery. Because when you realize that you can market and sell, you get paid more per hour to do those activities than you do the skill of coaching. You can hire somebody in, pay them $18, $20, $22 an hour, depending on where they live in the world, and that leaves you freed up to get paid $100 an hour to do sales or to do content creation. So that's how you scale a business, is you keep taking away the activities which get you paid less per hour and start replacing them with higher level skills.
Amazing. Whoa.
Awesome.
Well, thanks for the shout out on the program there, because, we're on the faculty of a health coaching school, and there's a million. So we're not here to push any particular one, but we are on the faculty of one. And it's like, okay, we're going to give you an education about nutrition science and, the essentials of coaching, but you're actually still going to have to go do some work on yourself. Like, we're not handing you a 6-figure salary just because you've completed our course. There's still work you have to do and really drilling down to who you are, what you offer, what problem you solve for specific people. And so I see so much value in kinds of programs like the Life Changer Academy. Can you tell me how long your program is and how it's structured if people join it?
Yeah, so it's 16 weeks to start with. So somebody's going to come in, it's like, I will give you the tools to build a 6-figure income in those 16 weeks. So I'm going to give. I realized when I started to create this program, this platform, that a lot of people were teaching theory, but they weren't giving people a business. And the reason why is because it's very difficult to just like hand someone a business. Just like, okay, read these words on the page, like post these pieces of content, use this membership site that I already built for you, just put your name and logo on it. Like, it's difficult to do that, to build the number of resources and get the support staff behind it that have already done this for themselves or already done this for hundreds of other coaches. It's like, it's difficult to do that. But I put a lot of time and energy and effort on asking myself this question. This is really the question that I ask myself, and then I tell my staff to keep asking themselves. How do we make this so easy that a 3-year-old fitness coach can do it, can make 6 figures? How do we do it so that a 3-year-old literally can go online and boom? And the way that we do that is like, boom, we just do everything that we can do in advance, like the application forms, done. Like the website in the back end, done. The content pieces done, the sales scripts done, all the objection handlers done. Like, everything done so that when someone walks in, it's like if you've got hustle, if you've got grit, if you've got discipline, you'll literally just show up through the calls and you'll respond when my team messages you every fucking day to get it done so you don't get lost in the mix, then you can succeed. You can succeed. Now, what I won't take is I won't take somebody that's uncertified. Somebody's need to come in, if they need to be a certified health coach. They need to be a certified trainer. Because I know that when I give people these skills, this business, they're going to be successful. And I want to know for certain in my heart that it's doing good for the people that are buying from them. And if they're certified, that's the easiest way I know on the front end that they know what the hell they're talking about and they can get somebody a result.
Great. Okay. So it's 16 weeks long. And is it, how many people do you typically enroll at a given time? Is it small group, large group? Is it infinite groups? How is the material delivered?
Yeah. So this is so cool. So it is a large group feel. I mean, it's a large group in actuality, but with a small group feel. So what we have is we have the benefit of both large group interaction, which is where I have literally right now 195 clients that are in the LCA. The LCA, that's not even my mastermind in the back end with Life Changer Impact, but 195 clients actively right now. And those people, they're all in this big group, but when people come in, they get assigned one coach that is going to be supporting them, walking them through the process. So they get a one-on-one attention level for their business that's not – and these people are trained. They've literally built six-figure businesses for other people. These are qualified professionals that are going to be their number one report. And they're placed into an accountability group of other coaches for Max that they'll be sharing their journey with it. They'll be role-playing their sales calls with it. They'll be reviewing feedback. They'll be setting goals with. They'll be giving feedback on each other's businesses, encouraging one another because we all need encouragement. We all need friends that are successful or on their way to be successful if we're going to be successful. Everybody needs that. So they have their accountability group, their small group, they got their one-on-one coach, and then they've got the bigger group where they can ask questions or share resources. One of the really important principles of our Facebook group, for example, is that givers are winners. Givers are winners. Yeah. And when we all give, we all get. So in my community, it's people literally every day are posting #give. Here's a content post that I used today that worked really well. I got tons of leads from it. Okay, here's how I handled an objection today with this client that got them to pay in full instead of doing the payment plan at $2,000. Okay, here's how I have helped this client with PCOS get past their issues so that they can lose the weight faster. Okay, here's how I broke through this mindset block with the client or whatever. It's give. So they get the benefit of other people's gives, and it's a place for them to share what's working for them and also to ask, hey, I have this question. Ask, what do you guys think about this? Or how do I deal with this client? Or how do I attract this kind of client to work with me instead? So there's that big group feel to where they get the benefit of a collective of people that are kicking ass. They get their small group where they build friendships and relationships with other successful people, and then they get their one-on-one coach that holds their ass accountable to following through on what's hosted in the course.
I love it. That's awesome.
Gains.
All right. So where can people find you? Because I'm sure we're going to have a bunch of coaches I'm going to check that guy out. Where's the best place for them?
Well, this is a podcast. We're on a podcast. Change Your Podcast would be the first place to come hang out with me. Come join me. And I'd love to just dump a bunch more free value and strategy to help you grow your business. And then the second place would be if you want to apply to work with me, if you want to have a conversation about what that might look like. Because again, we don't take everybody. I actually say at this point, we say no to more people than we say yes to, because like I said, I only want to work with people that they're going to be open to getting their ass kicked and they're going to get great results. Because I'm not looking for more clients. I'm looking for more badasses or people that are coachable to be turned into badasses that I can give them a six-figure business. So if that sounds interesting to you, then just go to sterlinggriffin.com/GAIN gains. sterlinggriffin.com, this is my name, /GAINZ gains. And I'd love to serve you if you're the right fit for us. So the first thing, the Life Changer podcast for everybody, for sure. And if you're interested, you're like, hey, I'm not satisfied, I want to take this thing to the next level, then sterlinggriffin.com/gains.
Awesome.
This was so fun. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and I just want to say I really appreciate, I was thinking about this before we came on today, just feeling a lot of gratitude for the work that you, Aaron, and you, Laura, are doing for people. You, with this podcast and with the Primal Health Coach Institute and all that work, you are changing the state of health in America and across the world, literally through this work. I love that you two are doing this work and you're empowering other people to do more for others than they otherwise would. Like literally so many people's lives are being changed because of the work you're doing. So I'm really grateful, and I'm really grateful you're doing that work, and grateful that we get to hang out today. Be fun.
Oh, it was so fun. This was so fun, Sterling, and so just insightful. I think you're going to get a lot of interested folks coming to you with questions and excitement about stepping into their calling. I believe it. Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Sterling.
You're welcome.
Bye.
This podcast was brought to you by Primal Health Coach Institute. To learn more about how to become a successful health coach, get in touch with us by visiting primalhealthcoach.com/call. Or if you're already a successful health coach, practitioner, influencer, or thought leader with a thriving business and an interesting story, we'd love to hear from you. Connect with us at hello@primalhealthcoach.com and let us know why we need to interview you for Health Coach Radio. Thanks for listening.